my see if I. Whoop.
Welcome, everybody. That's Big Bandy here, wanting to step out immediately. Sure, of course. Go ahead. Don't worry. We got this. Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 6 of the Vinyl Collection. If you're just joining us, this is a little live stream we've been putting on weekly, where it just started. I was just going through my record collection because I was trying to figure out what was in there. And it's kind of nice and cathartic to just sit on your floor and go through your records. When was the last time you got to do that? So not playing them, just going through them, opening them up, see what's in there, see what posters are in there, see what the vinyl looks like. Just that kind of fun stuff. So we started doing that. I started at Z. I'm working my way backwards. We are going to start at G today. And as this show has developed, we've had experts come on, vinyl pundits, as it were, come on to help me out and go through my records and also show off some of their fantastic picks as well. And they have really cool stuff. So look forward to that. I will introduce them in a second. First of all, I got to remind you to please hit the subscribe button so you can be on top of things when new videos like this one come on. We're doing live streams a couple times a week, it seems. You got this one, you got the podcast, and then there's also little videos here and there we're putting out. It doesn't hurt you to hit subscribe, and it helps out quite a bit. So that's probably the last time I'll ask you. No, I'll ask you several times through this. Hit the subscribe button. Just do it. Okay, so with us today, as normal, we have the vinyl pundits, as it were, the big shots. We got Matt Big Bandy.
Hello.
And we got Kevin Buried on Mars.
Hey now.
And Jake from the Polykill Podcast. So these are big time, big shots. Jake, how's it going?
Oh, it's going good. Can't complain. I wish it was warmer, but eventually it'll.
Can Jake hear me?
Yeah. I hear you.
Okay.
I think Bill's on a delay.
Welcome back. Am I? Great.
Boy, I think you are.
Big time.
Great. Yeah. I am broadcasting from Sweden right now. So I jetted over there. So boy. I'm sure it'll fix up in a second. So yeah, we got Jake from Polykill Podcast. Kevin, he's from Retro Fandango, big old podcast over there, as well as Quick Save Club. You can find that on the Cartridge Club podcast stream, and Matt Bandy appears on the Cartridge Club stuff all the time too. So that's where you're going to find these guys, and they are the vinyl pundits, the big shots, as it were.
Pundits.
How's my delay going? Pundit, that's, because I'm stuck watching CNN and 24-hour news channels all day long and all night long. You come to know that the experts they have on the screen are called pundits.
Okay. See, I'm learning something here.
They're not arguing with me.
Never argue.
Wow, this stream is really messed up. This will be challenging.
It looks cleaner now than it did like 2 minutes ago, at least from where I sit.
Yeah.
This is how comedians feel when they're dying on stage, because I'll say something and just look at you. You guys are stone.
It's called bombing.
You got flop sweat, Bill?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Flop sweat for sure. Flop sweat. So if you guys are just joining us, the chat is open. Say what you want in the chat. We'll be monitoring it, and we'll welcome any of your questions or comments or anything like that. And anything you want to contribute, we're here for. This is like call-in show too. You want to call in? Ask. You can get right in this show. It's no big deal. Now, for the last few times I've started off with something special. I don't know if this is special or not, but this is something a lot of vinyl enthusiasts sometimes require. So I'm going to show this. This is, do you guys recognize what that is? Do you guys need this?
Is that a preamp?
Yeah, exactly. So sometimes if your amp doesn't have a phono input, or if you're, working on a PA amp or something like that, that doesn't have a separate preamp for your vinyl, you need one of these modules. So this will amplify your record player before pumping it out to your speakers. So yeah,
Very cool.
you guys don't need these. You don't have one.
Old I used to use. Required a preamp, but my current setup, I do not need one.
Yeah, I actually bought powered speakers for my turntable, so I don't even have anything. Just go directly from the turntable to the speakers.
Wow. Jake, I got to compliment you on your ceiling back there. That thing is dramatic.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
Like a
wow.
big gazebo.
It almost looks like. You ever seen a yurt?
Yes. It's
You know what
very
a yurt is? Okay. I was
yurtish.
gonna see.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask if you were living in a yurt.
I am not. It is a strange house,
Okay.
though. So I will
cool, though.
concede that it is. Yeah. I like it.
It's very Bond villain-esque.
Yes.
Mm.
This house was not made to live in. It was made to hatch devious plans in, that's for sure.
I was thinking more like it's set up for worship, or a Sunday meeting kind of thing.
Not
I
quite.
see that happening there. Yeah.
Not out of the realm of possibility, though. We'll see where things go.
Okay. Enough chit chat. You guys want me to start?
Yeah.
Since
Mhm.
it's on this channel and everything. I
Yeah,
might as
this
well
is-
start. Okay.
Yeah, I need to get the ribbing started for your picks.
Yeah. Now, do you guys remember where we left off last time? Did you get the preview I showed? Remember seeing it?
I remember the color of it, but I remember not recognizing it.
I was surprised Kevin didn't. A good old Canadian like Kevin.
Oh, nice.
Oh, no.
The Guess Who?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
late Guess Who, though. That's after Randy Bachman and what's his face left? The guy who
Oh,
replaced.
that's Birdie right there.
No, not Burton Cummins, but there was Randy Bachman was a guitarist, and then there was the guy who replaced Randy Bachman, and then that guy
That's
left.
Bachman, is it not?
No, by number 10. That's 10.
No, Bachman's here. Bachman's here.
What's the name of that album?
Okay. I love it when Kevin's right. God damn it. No Bachman.
No. So, but
No
even the guy
Bachman on this
who
one.
replaced Bachman,
But he
had
is
already left the
credited
band.
in the songs.
Randy Bachman is.
Yeah, Miss Frizzy is a Bachman and Cummings. Unless Birdie and Randy had some kind of writing license, like McCartney, Lennon did. I don't know, but check that shirt out.
Is that the same Bachman from Bachman
Yeah.
Turner Overdrive? Gotcha.
We got a nice record sleeve in here, which I'm sure that surprises no one. And the vinyl looks pretty good. Look at that record label, Nimbus 9. I like that.
Hmm.
So yeah, a little bit of Guess Who. Now this is where it gets really Guess Who's back? Not the guys you want, because there's no Burton Cummings or Bachman on this one. Just the dudes. Yeah. They must have recorded this at some fair they were performing at.
Ouch.
Are you sure your
I
kids
don't
are off
recognize
the internet
songs.
right now?
Oh,
Bill?
dude.
You're coming in like old school shopping channel, like 80s shopping channel. Like
What do you mean?
We're getting a frame every 5 seconds.
Oh my God.
I'm kind of enjoying it. It's retro.
It is very retro.
Like I said, I have 2 kids upstairs who promised me they wouldn't be on the internet that are probably on the internet.
Mm.
This is by Aquarius Records. So what do you guys think? Is this one we can turf, you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Even though Kurt Winter's on it, who's a really good guitarist, but yeah, once Cummings left, well, why don't you give it a listen and then make a decision? You might like it, actually.
Listen to it, eh?
Yes, yeah. Well, give it a listen. Give it a
People
spin,
do that with records, I think.
and then decide whether you want to keep it or not.
That is
I know
okay.
it's a wild idea, but maybe give it a
Listen
shot.
to it. Listen to it. That's good advice. Okay.
And say hello
Yeah.
to Deke in the chat.
Hey, Deke's showing up.
Little Deke.
Great to see Deke from Thunder Bay, you say?
That's right. Thunder Bay Arena Rock. That's the
T-Bay.
name of his blog. Check it out.
I'm sure Deke knows this album. This
Oh,
is
yeah.
the Guess Who album to have. This is the one, guys. Jake, Big Bandy, this is the one to get.
Okay.
I believe, maybe Deke knows the answer to this. This was not on anything else except for vinyl for the longest time. I don't know if it finally got pumped out digitally or not. Kevin, you know?
Yeah, I think it is on CD now. Pretty sure. It's on Spotify for sure.
This is a live album. A lot of Canadians have wore out this album because it is so good. The American Woman, the version of American Woman on here is absolutely stellar.
It also got a bit of a revival about 20 years ago when the radio started playing Running Back to Saskatoon again. And I put it on everyone's radar.
Did that band get a little bump when what was it? Superbad. They played was there a couple tracks from the Guess Who on that where you sang These Eyes maybe?
Yeah. I don't know if they got a bump, but American Woman, man. Look at the size of this track. It's like most of the side for American Woman. Great album. You got to have that album.
There's
And
also
that's it for my Guess Who.
There was a Canadian rapper who's like he was the Canadian version of Puff Daddy, who did some Guess Who. Like he did These Eyes in the Puff Daddy way, and that kind of gave him a little bump too. Was Maestro Fresh West?
Huh?
Maestro Fresh West.
You're making that up.
Nope.
It does sound made up, but I guess it kind of was made up at one point.
Sarah, Maestro Fresh West. He did that These Eyes cover, right? Oh, she says no. Maybe I'm wrong. There's the only one who could prove me wrong. Who was it? It was like the Let Your Backbone Slide guy, right? He was just going by Fresh then. He wasn't the Maestro and he wasn't West. He was just Fresh.
I mean, of all the things to be, I think that's of the three, that's the one to be, I guess.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, see? I got it right. Everyone thinks I'm wrong, but then I'm right.
Well, okay.
Looks like he was going by Maestro West Fresh.
Okay, I knew there was a name change. So he's Maestro. What? What was he?
He's Maestro Fresh West.
Right.
But I think that he was going by Maestro West Fresh or something like that.
Yeah, that's perfect sense. Makes perfect sense.
Just like Peach changed too.
Just like who?
We lost you on that, Bandy.
He's gone.
He's gone.
He said it was Bob.
Who was who?
I said didn't Puff
That's
Daddy
right,
changed his name too, didn't he?
Yeah,
did.
many times.
Right.
Puffy, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, etc.
All right, I'm going to throw this over to my bandana brother, Matt Bandy, who still working the bandana as I wear in honor of him, of course. The other two guys
Appreciate it.
have spit in your face, Big Bandy.
No, I brought
face.
mine. I got mine.
I don't know where mine went, but it's here somewhere.
Mine's right here. I brought it. Oh, it's not peeled, but it is a dole. I'll eat that later.
Can you just smuck that around your face for a little bit for us? No.
Okay, so I'm going to start off talking one record to start off with, and I know that Kevin said he was going to be doing one genre only this episode, so I kind of thought I might do that as well, but too weird. I figured I would start with a record that is, I would say, probably on my top 10 favorite records of all time. And that would be Violent Femmes' Self-Titled.
Very cool.
Are you guys familiar with this band at all?
Yes.
What genre are we doing? You cut out during that. What?
Oh, I said that I was going to do kind of only one genre, except this was going to be my exception for today's polls.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just wanted to talk about one of my just kind of all-time favorite records. I was introduced to this band when I was probably in college. I'd heard the Blister in the Sun. I'm not sure where I originally had heard that from, but this, start to finish, it's such a weird mix of like punk rock and post punk and like new wave. They have xylophones on some of the tracks, and it's just so good, so catchy, and yeah. I got this a few years ago. I believe when I was still in Chicago. It's on Slash Records. This is, I believe, a repress. This isn't an original pressing, but it's on 180 gram, I think. It sounds absolutely amazing. And this one, I believe this was the original sleeve here, but sometimes I'll replace the sleeves if it's a picture sleeve or something. I'll replace it with one of my own. But yeah, this one I believe is a little bit hard to find. It might be out of press, and it's not super expensive on Discogs, but it's not a cheap record either. But yeah, if you ever have never heard this band, yeah, one of my all-time favorite records. So yeah.
Groovy.
You guys have any?
Can't hear you, Bill.
Okay, sorry.
There it is.
I'm new to this. I was saying I don't have any experience with them. So.
Oh, really? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've probably heard Blister in the Sun, right?
You'll have to hum a few bars for me.
Oh, Jesus. It's the Let Me Go On Like a Blister in the Sun.
If I had the guitar, I could play the riff.
It's got a very notable bass line.
Yeah, it's heavy. It's like almost like bass forward on a lot of the tracks. And it's a 3-piece band. Almost kind of minimalist. Yeah.
The song's about masturbation, and they play it at all the fairs and that, with all the kids running around and that.
All right. Well, let's move it along. Let's go to Jake and his cathedral and see what he brought for us today.
So I'll start with one. I already took it out because it would be a pain to get out otherwise. But this, if I can find the right way to hold it up, this is a picture disc for a record. Well, it's kind of an EP called Cold Dark Place by a band called Mastodon. They're kind of like a progressive sludge metal from Atlanta. The back's a nice heart. And I usually don't care about picture discs, but that was the only way that they pressed this. So I felt like it would be prudent to grab this. And obviously this webcam's not doing it justice. The art's pretty intricate even for a vinyl thing. But it basically just came in like a plastic sleeve with a label on it. But I'm a big fan of Mastodon, specifically their earlier stuff, pretty much from Blood Mountain to Crack the Sky. After that, they kind of fell off a little bit for me. But this is their latest release. I think it came out in 2017, maybe 2018. They're on Warner Brothers. So pretty big label for a pretty big band. But what I think I like about this collection of songs is there's four members of the band, and there's 3 singers, and one of the guitarists named Brent Hines, he kind of brings like a different kind of energy to the band. He brings some like Southern rock stuff and maybe even a little bit of a beachy vibe at times to their music. And most of the songs are written by him about what he was going through in life at the time. So it's just sort of very Brent Hines forward, which kind of makes me love it even more. But just kind of a cool collector thing. I don't really play it that often. I think I've spun it once just because it's a picture and I don't really care about that. But just a cool piece to have in the collection.
Oh, the pictures still look cool, especially all dark and get the highlights coming through.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Kevin, what do you want to show us?
Well, Bill, I have you to blame for this. I watched your videos there on bootlegs and that.
Oh, which video is that, and where can they find it?
I don't know. It was on my random recommendations, and I foolishly clicked on it. But then I went into looking at my preservation copies, if you will, and bootlegs. And I just found a bunch of stuff in there that I want to listen to. So I know I said I was going to only talk about blues, and I do have a bunch of blues here. But you guys ever hear? These guys are the Helicopters. Rock and Roll is Dead.
Oh yeah, the Swedish band.
I guess we were on Little Steven's Underground Garage. I forgot all about these guys. This is a preservation copy, by the way. Not bad job, eh?
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, I gave that a spin. And I forgot, Tony Iommi did a solo album. This is a real old school preservation copy.
Wow.
All the bonus tracks on there.
Heck yeah.
You know? Yeah, it's because you got to fill up the CD, right? You can't just there's only 10 songs on here. You got to put so I got some Motorhead on there and Beat the Brat by the Ramones. Like, why not? It fits in with Tony Iommi. But I do want to get a legit copy of that. And then I found my BB King complete. This is like some crazy. Look at this sucker. So I think CD's falling out of it already. Like there was 4. I don't know. It was a whole set. Can't even get it to open. Maybe I just don't remember how it opens. Anyways, trust me. There's I don't know. This is what you had to do back in the day.
Lefties.
I can't even get in this thing. The cover's just taped on.
I was about to ask if that was cardboard, but I see now.
No, it's
so
it's all
artistic.
plastic. There's the second set. There, we can get in there. So there was 4 CDs in there, but I mean that was the only way I could listen to BB King at the time. There was, unless I wanted to spend a ton of money on a bunch of CDs. There's this Albert King, The Lost Sessions, produced by John Mayhill.
Whoa.
I don't even know where to find that anymore. I'll give that a spin, see if I can find that. I forgot all about this Mark Knopfler album.
Oh, cool.
Shangri-La. Boom Like That. I forgot all about this album.
What year's that?
I think 2000. Make me do my old man reading thing. It's like 2005 or something like that.
Are these all bootlegs?
They're preservation copies.
Okay, sorry.
I got the Allman Brothers Hitting the High Note. I'm looking for a legit copy of this too. But I forgot that I made a whole thing. This was the last one they did, I think, as the Allman Brothers, the last studio album. Fleetwood Mac's first album.
Oh, nice.
This was the worst
Early Mac.
Yeah, it's I think it's their first album, when they were blues.
That's the shit.
Yeah, it's got what's his name? Pete something, the guitars. Pete Green?
Yeah.
Peter Green.
Yeah.
That's it. Came back to me. And then this was a great live. So this is a bootleg of Derek and the Dominoes.
Sweet.
And it's a great live bootleg, but they used the worst font for the artwork. You can't even read. If it weren't for this, you wouldn't know what it is. And then this was back in my model kit days. I had left some paint thinner out, and this fell on the paint thinner, and it totally roached the case. But these kind of double cases were so rare, so hard to come by that it's just I got to live with it now, because this was a 4-disc set as well. And these are all Shin files.
Is it sourced from what? Is it audience or?
I believe this is soundboard.
Ooh,
I wouldn't have taken anything unless it was soundboard.
There's good audience recordings out there.
Yeah, for the Grateful Dead, because those guys knew what they were doing. But I don't know. For the most part, I stuck to the soundboard stuff.
Well,
this is one that I saw you had. Sirens Sweetly Singing. Very easy. Now you said that you made these covers.
Maybe some of them.
I don't think you made this one. There's no Bill logo on this one.
Oh, okay. Well, then I did.
So then you got this from me.
No.
Yep. If it doesn't have your logo on it, you said you got it from me. That's what you said. So there you go. So that's what I found, and then I got other stuff to talk about later. But yeah, that was good.
Yeah. Well, if the video you're referencing, the discs I show are bootlegs, not ripped versions of authentic albums.
Oh, there was some ripped stuff in there.
There was accidental stuff appeared on there.
I saw some preservation copies.
It was all accidental. What about the BB King and Hendrix one? Did that one have my mark on it?
I did not find that one. I know I had it, but I couldn't find it, and I might have it in a binder. Maybe I didn't make the artwork for it.
I think I gave you the whole package. That's what I remember, giving you the whole package. Beautiful. I think I wrapped it and like, my friend, this is for you. So that's the kind of friend I am.
No, you were definitely maybe in your own mind because you are a legend there.
Hey, I did my homework and I actually listened to a bunch of stuff you guys talked about in the last couple episodes. So if you will allow me, I'll see if I can remember, because I don't really remember what I wrote here, but I did listen to Monolord.
Okay.
Which Matt Bandy showed off early on, and so did Jake, I think, last episode. But it didn't do it for me.
I found it was like
too downbeat. The one with the shuttle going off the owl. It just seemed very downbeat to me. And it was more like, we're going to do this riff, and we're going to do this riff for 20 minutes straight.
Yeah.
Until you fucking...
There you go.
So yeah. Then I listened to more Truck Fighters. I listened to something called Phi, which was really good, and then something called Mania, which I got tired of them, I guess, by that point because I didn't like it. And Hidden Treasures of Fuzz, which got very repetitive, I found. So
that one Truck Fighters thing I think it was one that you posted. It was like an hour and something, right? The one
with like the astronaut.
Yeah, was that like over an? Yeah, see, like that's too long. It needs to be like, for me, a good rock and roll album needs to be 40 minutes.
I like that album. It was, and then after that, I needed to wash my head out, so I went back to Uncle Sid, and they don't disappoint. Uncle Sid, Uncle Acid. I call him Uncle Sid.
Do it to me.
And I can't find any bad stuff from them.
Awesome. I'm glad you like that.
I listened to Mind Control.
Yeah, that's their. Is that their latest record, or that might have been right after the? It's got a kind of a weird cover of a guy's face looking to the side.
Yeah. And it really knocks you on the head. It just sneaks Beatles into the side, and then you go, "What? Oh, that is Beatles, man! That is so up Beatles alley. It's not even funny, yet it's this." So yeah, I'm loving the Uncle Sid.
Awesome. If I could sneak another recommendation in there for you, there's a band that's just called Fuzz, F-U-Z-Z. I think you might enjoy.
That's it, just F-U-Z-Z. There is so much Truck Fighter stuff out there. It's not even funny. That just kept filling up my YouTube, and that's why I kept listening to it. And something else I listened to that YouTube recommended. Have you guys heard of Electric Wizard?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't go for it.
That's a little. Yeah, if you didn't like the Monolord, I don't think you'd like the Electric Wizard.
Yeah, I didn't go for it.
Electric Wizard, they're a band from England, and they were kind of one of the first bands that were doing kind of the throwback stoner doom metal, like heavy occult feel in like the early 2000s, and they've been around for quite a while doing that.
And I forgot to mention last episode, but I did go back and listen to your what's his face from the New York Dolls.
Johnny Thunders.
I did listen to that. Yeah. I didn't like it. It was too punky. I'm not a big punk fan, so I thought it just veined a little bit too much into the punk for me. But otherwise, Look at all that homework I'm doing for you guys. Hey?
I'm like, that's awesome.
So I still have to St. Paul. You guys told me about. I still have to get to that. Was that something?
That was me. St.
Okay.
Paul and the Broken Bones.
Yeah, that I got to get to still. All right. Well, I'll keep on trucking here. Yeah. So the next ones, I don't know why they're in this collection.
Oh, is this the embarrassing stuff?
To me, because a couple people joined this band that completely ruined it from what Kevin showed.
Oh, oof.
I think it's because these are so mint and so perfect. I don't know. I kept them in the
plural. He just doesn't. He has more than one.
Like it's pretty iconic cover. Let's see what's in there. Oh yeah. See, you can tell at least I'm not listening to them. They're super minty. It's the Lindsey Buckingham got in there with Stevie Nicks. It just no good for me. So these are super mint.
How many records did that thing sell?
Oof,
Bajillion.
Yeah.
as much as this one.
Ugh.
Oh dear, but it's like mint, right? Like this is such good quality, and it is iconic because of
You know, I have never noticed that until right now. I was going to say something.
Oh, I got the wrong camera on here. I'll get you guys on there. Yeah, see your disgust in my selections. Yeah,
I mean, it's a great copy. If that's any consolation.
It is a good copy. There's stuff in here. You guys want to?
Stuff is cool. That's why we're here.
Okay, so it's got this wraparound thing around the sleeve, so you get to see all that, and there's all that happening. Lots of hair, and yeah, rumors. Warner Brothers. So yeah, and you know, I always talk how awesome that first Fleetwood Mac album is. So obviously I don't have it. I have more of this other stuff. I don't know why. This is called Tusk. Anyone know anything about this?
Nothing more than the name.
Seeing that bunch of, I remember seeing like infomercials, like on those like collections, and I think isn't the UCSD marching band play on that?
Mm.
I would know before me.
It's got nice embossing on the cover where the photo is. I give it tops in style. Empty record sleeve. Ooh, that's
all right.
Got some artwork there. That's cool.
Yeah.
Get some boobies. I like that. Kind of Salvador Dali-ish. And another empty record sleeve. It's got airplanes. I like airplanes. And now there's two more sleeves in here. And these have the records in them.
So do you have two extra sleeves, or are you missing two?
I don't know. Tusk. This is side 2, side 1. Kevin, what's Sarah say? Is Tusk a 4-discer or is it a 2-discer?
I don't think she knows. Do you know anything about the Fleetwood Mac Tusk, Sarah?
Album?
Yeah. Is it a long album? Do you know? I should know. Should know.
I thought she was a big Fleetwood Mac person.
I think she is. We have a couple. We got something with trees on it or something.
And this is side 3 and 4, so it's definitely 2. I got the first 2 albums. Oh, wait.
Well,
Wait.
yeah, what
You
is-
guys are right. Look at this. 2, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3. These are labeled like they got numbers on the top. 4 and 3. And 1 and 2 again. Oh, these just must wrap around these other sleeves, right? Who cares?
No idea.
Who cares? So I'm glad. I was happy to bring that to you guys. So there's the Fleetwood Mac section. We're into the Fs, by the way. So more Fs to come after
All right.
after. Who wants to go next? Jake, you want to go?
Yeah, sure. I'll jump in. It's funny how you were mentioning your dislike of punk, and that's what I brought with some new punk. This is a record called "Joy is an Act of Resistance" by a Bristol, UK based punk band.
So, a current?
Hold on. Still there?
I can hear you.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
can hear you.
Okay, everything just went weird for a second. Let me see. Okay, yeah, there we go. We're back. But yeah, the name of the band is Idols, IDLES. It's very much sort of a sort of blue collar punk. Like I said, they're from Bristol, UK, so they're very working class. Think of like a modern version of maybe like Sex Pistols or something like that, at least in how unhinged they are in their approach. But again, being punk, it's very political, very forward-thinking, progressive ideas. Just simple black vinyl. But I came across these guys. I think it was one of the NPR Tiny Desk concerts, and the featured song was called "Never Fight a Man with a Perm." And it's a
very
send up
progressive.
of it's a send up of like toxic masculinity, and I just I adore what they do. I adore their message, their stage shows, and it's just it's a really fun record. Their first album was called Brutalism. I think it came out in 2016. It's not quite as good as this one. I think they sort of nailed down what they wanted to say. With Joy as an Act of Resistance, and this is one of the latest records I acquired actually, but before the lockdown. But yeah, if you're interested in that kind of thing, check them out. Bill, obviously, I don't think you're going to be jumping at the chance to listen to something that sounds like that maybe, but yeah, they're just a lot of fun. I really enjoy their energy. They're live. They're all crazy. They're like they all have. At least as of last year, they all had day jobs. I think one of the guitarists was a dentist. They work in diners. They're all very, grounded guys. They have a record deal, but it's obviously not enough to keep them afloat. So,
What's the record label?
There's definitely a lot of energy in punk.
Let's see, Partisan Records.
Partisan. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know them. And I may throw another one in here real quick. You guys familiar with the band Boris?
Third Man Records. Bill should be.
No, I'm familiar with the label.
Okay. So this is actually obviously live at Third Man. It's just 2 sides, 5 songs. Boris are a Japanese band. It's a 3-piece band. I actually bought this when I went to Third Man in Nashville. So I bought it from the shop, which was pretty cool. The shop is tiny, but it was cool to go there.
The Nashville shop is tiny?
Yeah, it's very small. On a bad side of town. There were vagrants everywhere. It was weird. But simple black vinyl. I think I paid like $16, $17 for this. But Boris are a band that, I don't know, they sort of defy classification. Metal kind of accepts them because what they do is kind of different and somewhat extreme in some cases. They've got a lot of noise, a lot of that, big stacks of orange amplifiers. So they play something that's a bit on the doomier, fuzzier side, but A lot of the songs are more just they feel like big improvisations. They're very cool. They've been around for like 25, 30 years. But yeah, they recorded this set at the performance space at Third Band, and then they pressed it there. But yeah, I enjoyed going to the shop and grabbed a few things, and that was one of them. But Boris are neat. They've got a lot of records to pick from, and a lot of them are very different. I'd say a good starting place for them is the Pink.
That was
Pink.
Pink. Yeah, that was my introduction to the band. That was like early 2000, like 2002, 2003, around that time period.
That was probably their most accessible entry point. But yeah, I love it. Third Band was cool, but again, weird side of town.
And that storefront is in front of their pressing plant, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, same as Detroit. I'd love to take a tour of the pressing plant one day.
Yeah, that would be neat. That would be really cool.
Yeah, they do. They book up. You can buy tickets for the tour, but it's kind of far away.
Yeah. All of them are far from me.
Yeah, Jake has this crazy power when he's in solo. He full screen. You have the power to kick out a solo on your own. I'm not even doing it. I just look up and you're out of solo. It's really strange. You're the only one with that power.
I'm not trying to.
All right. What do you got for us, Big Bandy?
Well, we're about to get a little weird here, so I apologize. But I don't know if you guys know.
We're losing you.
Before. Actually, can you hear me?
Can now.
Yep. Go ahead.
Am I there?
Yes.
Okay. What's the last thing you heard me say?
I don't know if you were.
You there?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
We're ready.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if I've ever talked about this or if I mentioned this to you guys before, but actually, I used to live in Norway.
What?
Yeah. So I lived with I was an exchange student. I was there for a little over a year, and I went to school there. There was a cultural exchange, essentially through Rotary International, and went to school there. I lived with the family, but I was there in the late '90s, so that was kind of my introduction into black metal and some more kind of extreme genres of music, and so I was there. There is a large history that I won't go into on this podcast because it would take a long time. But if you aren't familiar with the Norwegian black metal scene in the 1990s, I would recommend a documentary called "Until the Light Takes Us." For me, that's probably the most accurate account of what happened during that time. It's an interesting watch, even if you're not into the music. I'd recommend watching that. But the one of the main focus on that documentary is with Fenris is his name. Well, that's not his real name, but that's kind of his stage name or his musician's name. But he plays in a band called Dark Throne. And this is Dark Throne's second record. It's called A Blaze in the Northern Sky. Before they put out this record, they were essentially a death metal band. And their first record was called Soulside Journey. It sounds, like stereotypical, like Swedish death metal, some other, 90s era death metal band. It's a decent record on its own, but during that time there was kind of a transition, a backlash to the American death metal scene. which is essentially kind of where the Norwegian black metal came out of, was a reaction to what was going on in the United States and Florida. Just they were getting tired of hearing overproduced records. It all kind of sounded the same. They wanted to get more into like a primitive, simple, straight to the point type of sound, raw sound, kind of more what they did, kind of some stuff that they grew up listening to with bands like Bathory, Venom, that type of stuff. That was kind of a huge influence on these bands. But this was one of the first, not the first Norwegian black metal album, but this is kind of one of the first to kind of nail this sound. And when this record came out, it was so different than their first record that was released by Peaceville Records, that Peaceville like almost didn't want to release this thing because it was so different. And they ended up releasing it, and people were kind of looking for a different sound at that time, and it was something different, something fresh. And this went on to become like a gold standard for the genre, and it went on to sell like a ton of for black metal. It went on to sell a bunch of records. Here's the back of it. They were originally a 4-piece band. This record went to a 3-piece, and with 2 guitars, drums, and a bass. After this record, they became a 2-piece band. But Jake, are you familiar with this at all?
Oh, I am.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It is. It's hard to point at a bigger watershed moment for black metal, especially second wave stuff, than that record right there.
Yeah, and this. What was I going to say? I lost my train of thought.
Do they perform in makeup?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, oddly enough, I don't think Dark Throne has ever really performed live in this. They performed a few times as a death metal outfit during the Soulside Journey, their first album. But since they became a 2-piece band, after this record, they became a 2-piece band, and they've never toured, and I don't think they played any live shows. And for a band to have such a cult following and a large following as this band does in extreme metal, to not tour and to put out records kind of when they want to, and they all they've progressed throughout the years to a different sound, but for them to be so successful and to not tour and not perform live has always been kind of crazy to me.
What
It
2
looks scary.
pieces?
It's drums, guitar, but they play all the instruments, but it's there's the 2 guys, they'll write the riffs, and Fenris, the kind of the main guy who he writes the riffs. Him and not Colto. No, let me pronounce that. Ted is his real name. Nocturno Colto is what he goes by.
Or Ted?
Yeah, he's actually a second grade teacher, and Fenris, he works for the Norwegian Postal Service. But yeah, they write when they want to, record when they want to, and yeah.
Excellent.
So this, I do have 2. I kind of went long there, but I got 2 other records by them real quick.
Bandy's passionate.
So yeah, sorry. But so over the years, their sound had changed quite a bit. There are 3 records that came out after their original release were in the pretty much standard Norwegian black metal style. Then they shifted kind of more into they had a lot of punk rock influence record, some more very heavy influence by Motorhead and speed metal, but they always kind of progressed and changed. There's almost like different time periods of Dark Throne, almost like Deep Purple has like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. There's almost like different phases in this band. But the record that they put out in 2016 called Arctic Thunder is such a good record. And this was like almost kind of not a return to their black metal style, but more of a raw kind of primitive sound to it. And this was a surprise for me when this came out, and it's a great record, but it's got another one of those which I'm a huge mark for. And you got a nice picture of Fenris there.
Looks like he's in pain.
And yeah. But when the record matches the theme of the logo there, you got a little orange on orange. But hey, I'm a huge mark for this band. I'm kind of a big fanboy for Dark Throne, and they came out with a record last year that I'll just briefly talk about. It's called The Old Star. This was one of my favorite records that came out last year, and pretty short record. It's maybe 35, 38 minutes, right around that point. Yeah, this one's got some crazy artwork on it. If you can see that in the picture there, or if we got a little bit of a glare, but I've talked long enough.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Did you just open that for the first time on this podcast?
No, that's the definitely not. That is just it's kind of more of a crinkly seal to it. But yeah.
And you're finding those in your record shop, or are you having to send away for those?
My local record shop carries this band.
Wow.
Yeah. Some of their stuff, the earlier stuff, can be a little bit harder. It's not out of press, but it's imported from Peaceville, and Peaceville is I don't know if they're a European label, so sometimes some of the prices can be a little bit higher on some of the records, but their records are not hard to find. You can get them pretty easy.
Right on. I hate to interrupt you guys. I hope you guys give me a second here. We have another first on this show that's happening. We have our first video caller calling in.
Oh.
So I hope you welcome this video caller with open arms. And caller, tell us your name and where you're coming from today.
Hey, there he is.
My name is Chris. I'm a first-time caller, long-time listener. I really appreciate you guys welcoming me from sunny California. It's not so sunny today. We have a little bit of overcast. I'm excited to be on. Got the bandana. I've been paying attention. I got my COVID hair, so growing a little bit. Sorry, Kevin.
Quite all right.
Just messing with you. So I'm really excited to be on your cassette podcast, right? Is that what we're doing here? The cassettes? No?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, okay.
What cassette was that? I couldn't see it.
There was some glare.
It's a Tone Loc.
Nice.
After Dark. It's a classic. You know what I mean? Funky Cold Medina. Anyways, I'm just gonna jump right in. I'm probably not gonna be as detailed as you guys, because you guys are experts in your genres and all that, and most of my albums are probably a little more commercial, not as obscure. So I guess if you're gonna start with one, you go with the best selling album of all time, Thriller. I found this at the swap meet. Ironically, I was just about to buy this was an album I had as a child. Maybe the artist didn't age well, but at the time it was the coolest fucking thing, right? You know what I mean? The coolest thing. Sorry, I forgot if we're PG or not. And then it even kind of didn't age well. We've got the Tiger King reference over here. So
I love it. That cover is awesome.
It's awesome, man. And I almost bought this at Walmart for $25 or $20. They have, Walmart, I guess it's kind of a thing now. They have vinyl because, Walmart's super hipster. But I found this at the swap meet the very next day. I was so happy I didn't. I mean, I guess in theory I could have probably took it back, but if I hadn't opened it. But I mean, and this was super clean. I got it for $1.
Nice.
And it's, the record's nice. I mean, no scratches, no popping. I don't even know if I'm supposed to touch albums. I'm not that much into it, but
You're not.
yeah. Well, hey, you know what? I'll get a brush or whatever you guys do. I'll Google it. But yeah, that's my first one. And at the same booth. And now, granted, this is probably not very good as far as besides the main track, but I saw you guys had mentioned soundtracks a few episodes back. So I got the Jaws soundtrack from the same guy.
Nice.
It was $1 as well. It's pretty cool. I mean, really the only song on, I'm not even gonna pull it out. The little thing inside's kind of ripped, but really the only song worth note is, the theme song. But I mean, I guess, I don't know if you wanted to hear Chrissy's death.
There's screams on there.
Yes, there's Night Scream. Or no, actually that's Night Search. There is no screams. There's the barrel chase. I mean, everybody knows that hit. Sea Attack #1. Okay. So in case you want to hear that, you got these. It even has it's kind of cool because it has the old school Kmart.
Yeah.
Because it still kind of has the plastic on it. It's not perfect, and it's kind of coming off a little bit, but it's pretty dope. But I'll go more into something that's kind of maybe right up of some of your guys' alley, but I don't know, still commercial nonetheless. But I mean, man, sorry about the clock. I kind of have a robot clock. I don't know if you heard that. I love the Cars, man. I think this is pretty much one of the best class. I don't even know what genre. I guess at the time they were modern rock or pop rock. I don't know all the specifics of what they are. I guess now you would just kind of consider them classic rock. But and I know the singer Rick, he died, I don't know, sometime at the end of last year, I guess. But pretty cool. And I'm not going to be like Bandy. I'm just powering through these. I was told I could put 5 albums, so I guess I'll just get right through it. And then another one, which, growing up, my dad was a huge Beatles fan, so by default, that made me a huge Beatles fan because you can only listen to it. And it was actually better than listening to Barry Manilow, which he was also a fan of. So also, I became a John Lennon fan. And here's the Double Fantasy. This is another album that, and that Cars, I found that at the swap meet for $0.25. And I found this John Lennon at the swap meet for $0.25 too. I'm very fortunate. There's a lot of cheap albums. People don't really value vinyl around here that much, but of course, a lot of times they're thrashed. And I honestly didn't know the fucking difference when I bought it. I figured it was good enough, and it plays well. There's no popping, no skipping, so that's good. And my last one, well, okay, I'm gonna throw in a bonus after this one, so I'm gonna do 6. Sorry about it, dude, but I went fast. But this was the only album I bought as a kid with my own money. Nice. I mean, I think I said that about the Thriller, but in actuality, that was more like I wanted for Christmas kind of thing. But I actually saved up and bought Prince's Purple Rain, which
on
I
cassette?
guess no, on album.
Nice.
At the time, my dad had a record player, and I kind of regretted getting it on record because he was kind of a dick. Well, he was a dick, and he wouldn't really let me play it much. But when he left, I would play it. And I actually had a cassette player, so it didn't really make a lot of sense. But I thought it was really cool, this big cover art. And I guess technically this is pretty much a soundtrack as well. I mean, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it came out at the same time as the movie with the same title. But it's really complete. It's really nice. Actually, this isn't even my copy. My copy didn't survive the years, but a girlfriend gave me her childhood copy. So in a way, it's kind of somebody's childhood copy.
What'd you do to your copy?
Shit, who knows, man? We moved probably 150 times, so somebody got it in some storage war of the day, whatever, or dumpster. I don't know. I didn't have any choice in that matter. And then the last one is actually the thing I did buy that night at Walmart. This was my favorite rock album growing up. I loved Metallica and Ride the Lightning. I mean, listen, there might be some guys out there who prefer Master of Puppets or Kill 'Em All, and if you prefer the Black Album, you suck, dude. You know what I mean? Like, serious. Like, come on. I mean, it's not bad songs. Don't get me wrong, but it's not metal. And now, I don't know. I don't know the degrees of metal. I don't know how metal you think this is, Bandy, but this was pretty damn metal to me.
That's my favorite Metallica album.
Yeah, I mean, to me, anybody who doesn't say this is their favorite Metallica album will raise an eyebrow. But, and you know, the crazy thing is, like, as a teenager listening to this, I didn't realize this was, I mean, I guess maybe I did, I don't know, but looking back, it's like, this is from 1984, and it just sounds so, I don't know, so modern. Not that 84 is ancient, but, you know, back then it was keyboards and synthesizers and, you know what I mean? Pop rock. And I don't know, maybe there was an underground metal scene at the time that I wasn't really that aware of. Of course, you know, I was probably more into top 40 hits and crap that was on my dad's radio when we were driving around. But, which, don't get me wrong, a lot of that crap is very good, except for Barry Manilow. But yeah, this is awesome, man. And man, I don't know how you guys are about, I mean, how you feel about reprints and all that, but dude, this sounds so good. Like it just sounds perfect. So if any of you guys are looking to kind of, I don't know, get a good album and, you know, get, you know, still kind of relive the music on vinyl, man, those Walmart prints are pretty good. And they got a decent return policy. So
What are they worth at Walmart?
like $20. So, I mean, really, I mean, honestly, that's the most I've spent on an album. You know what I mean? Because all my albums are all yard sales and swap meets. And I mean, and I've gotten some killer albums, or at least in my, you know, here's all right, I'm going to throw in one more. Screw it. And I got this at a yard sale too. This was another album that, you know, I always wanted to have. Now it doesn't have, like, I'm pretty sure there's a poster that comes with this. It doesn't have that. I had passed it up at a yard sale one time for $10. Now they did have the poster, but the guy was such a dick. You know, I don't know. There was something about it that rubbed me wrong about him, and I try never to get into those situations. I usually just bite my tongue and buy it, and then, you know, whatever, and move on. But he was just such a jerk. I was like, eh. And then later on, I regretted it because I wanted this album. Once I got a turntable, it was like, all right, now I'm gonna start to get some stuff that I like. And that was one of them. And, you know, got it for $1. So California swap meets are really good to me. And yard sales for that.
That was a great call-in.
Right on.
Yeah.
And I'm really, like,
We do know you're a giant
that you
piece
two
of
don't
shit.
have, well, yeah. But why don't you guys have your bandanas on? That's false advertisement. I saw the thumbnail. What happened?
That
Anyway.
thumbnail might have been a little misleading, I think.
It was. Yeah.
Got us to bird
If
expectations.
I was the only one on here, I would have been embarrassed.
We'll ban on here.
Hey, they'll get their punishment with the next thumbnail because I pick what bandana they're going to appear to wear in. So
Oh, I see.
That's
oh,
why-
it was a Photoshop. Okay.
Kevin got like a Deep South bandana last
it was-
one.
Little,
Yeah, I was like, you went Hulk Hogan style with the full cover.
I was I've never met anyone in the Ku Klux Klan, let alone attend a meeting. That
That was
bandana
it.
said something different.
It was a Dukes of Hazzard thing. That's all.
You got to give it to him Tupac style, though. You turn it around and you have the little, you know.
Yeah, that's next week for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Actually, I was thinking more beads on Kevin next week, you know, over the eyes and stuff.
Yeah, there you go. Milli Vanilli.
All right, that was Chris Roberts from the world famous Dollar Dorks podcast. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you guys, I hope you guys are listening to that. That's where
Well,
you can
hey,
learn about how to make money off your collections and all kinds of stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
thanks, Chris.
All
I'm so glad the show is back because I was the last guest before your hiatus, and I kind of felt like I killed the show for a little while there. But then you came back, and now that monkey is off my back. So thanks.
yeah,
for-
no,
for-
it wasn't you. It's all Derek. He's a loser. So, let's just keep it, you know, let's keep it real on the world famous vinyl podcast of Bill's. What is it this even called, Bill? Is it the
Vinyl
STC?
collection.
Is it the vinyl collection? You know what? I did read that earlier. My bad. You're right. The vinyl collection. It wasn't the cassette collection because I got some more cassettes. If you guys want to, no.
We'll save that for your next call in.
All right. Well,
All
hey
right.
guys, thanks for letting me interrupt.
Thanks for popping
Enjoyed
in,
it.
man. Great
Love you,
appearance.
Chris.
All right,
Bye,
Good
Chris.
job.
I love you, man.
I got to
See you
send
guys
you
later.
back so we have at least one watcher.
Yeah, I got you. I'll watch and I'll troll.
Okay. Cool, man. That was Chris Roberts popping in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
How about that for a surprise?
Very nice. Very pleasant surprise.
That leaves us up to, I think Kevin was next. Kevin, can you follow that up?
Oh, no. Chris went full Bandy there, so I don't know how I'm gonna follow that up, but I'll try. I'll try my best. So speaking of Matt Bandy, last episode, right? We were talking about Paul Butterfield Blues Band.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay, so I have 2 albums for you. I think I mentioned this on the last one, but East West Paul Butterfield Blues Band.
Okay.
This is the album that you have. This is the follow up to it. This came out in '66, and it is surprisingly psychedelic a little bit in some
Weird.
places. It's very like ahead of its time.
Yeah.
You know, this is before Sgt. Pepper's, before what was that? The Rolling Stones one, the Saint one, and all that.
Ours?
Something like that. Yeah, it's a little more Doorsy, I guess, in some
right.
parts. Like they kind of like groove. They get in a groove, but it's still blues. So that one, and the other one you want to get is the original Lost Electra sessions.
Okay.
So I think these first 2 albums originally were Electra or something like that, and then this is like the outtakes and that from those sessions. So this is the one. This is the other one you want to get for sure. And this is a preservation copy.
Gotcha.
The disc is actually in the CD player because I wanted to give it a spin. There you go. But I do need to get a legit copy of that as well. So you were talking about harmonica. You liked it because of the harmonica playing in that. I got some harmonica for you, some blues harp, if you will. So this guy was a harmonica player for Muddy Waters. And then he went off and kind of did his own thing. And then he went back to Muddy Waters, kind of back and forth and all that. This is
Little Walter?
Little Walter was one
No.
too, but this was the guy who replaced Little Walter. This is James Cotton.
Nice. I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, yeah. Well, Sarah and I actually went to see him in Toronto 15 years ago or whatever. He was opening, or actually, he was playing at Jeff Healey's. And I don't know if you guys know who Jeff Healey is. If you've seen the movie Roadhouse, there was a blind guy that could play the guitar.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's Jeff Healey. He's a Canadian legend, or was a Canadian legend, I should say. And he had his own place in Toronto, and he would bring in musicians from all over. And he had James Cotton that night, and so he would open for these. Like he would himself warm up the crowd basically because he had such respect for these musicians. He just didn't want them to go out there and do 3 like these guys. Oh man, James Cotton he kept playing. Like he just would not stop. He came on stage. It was like 1:00 in the morning, and they broke. They had like a little break. They were coming back, and I think they played till 3 a.m. It was crazy. But anyways, Jeff Healey decided like, okay, I'm going to do the blues thing, and he got like this little blues set and everything. And Sarah and I, we sat, and they were like, like you could reach out and touch them. They were just right there, And that's to me is the best way to watch, especially a blues band, is like in a bar. Forget this arena stuff and everything. In a bar, that's the way to go. And every time the band would like the blues, right? You got those pauses in those songs, right? Dun-dun-dun-dun, and there would be that pause, and you could feel the air rushing in when they would pause because like they were, forcing so much air out when they would play. And pause and come in, you feel like this cool breeze, and then the heat would come back off the stage. It was a wild night. Anyways,
incredible.
This album was a Record Store Day album from last year. I actually had my father-in-law grab it for me because I couldn't find it. The guy had to order it for me in Sudbury, and so my father-in-law actually went back to the store and picked it up for me. And it was a Record Store Day. This is a live concert from 1967. As far as I know, this is the only print of it, and it's fantastic. It's called Live at the New Penelope Cafe, and it's really good. So if you can find that, and you like your harmonica.
How old was he when he was playing with Muddy Waters? Was he young?
Yeah, he was a little bit younger than Muddy Waters. He would probably, I think he was a little bit older than Buddy Guy, but younger than Muddy Waters somewhere in there. And he played with him for years. Like this came out in '67. He I think he had already replaced Little Walter, but was kind of doing his own thing on the side. Then he came back. Muddy Waters actually kind of was not really retired, but he wasn't touring. But then he came back in 1976 with a brand new band. This is the album here. This is the back of the album here. That's James Cotton in the middle, Muddy Waters. And do you know who this guy is? Right there.
Is that Edgar Winter?
It's his brother, Johnny.
Johnny Winter. Yeah.
So this album came out in 1976, the year I was born, and it's called Hard Again because Muddy Waters is coming back. And when they were recording the songs, he said these recordings sound so good, they make my pee-pee hard. They decided to call the album Hard Again. If you watch the movie Goodfellas, there's a Muddy Waters song in there. The Hoochie Coochie Man. Mm-hmm. It is from this album. This basically that movie is what got me down the Muddy Waters path because I heard that in that movie and I'm like, I gotta have that cut of that song. Because there's other versions of it, but yeah, this is like the most rockin' one, and this was like the revival of his career of that A&M Records. Bill remembers that place. Yeah, I'm a little too young for that place.
So does Kevin.
I don't recall it.
Try that birth year again. 76.
76, yeah. Well, A&M, that you're 56, 66. I don't know, something like that. I don't know. I can't do math very well. Anyways, yeah, so that was good. And then they did a couple follow-up albums with it, which, I mean, at the time, like all these blues albums that I got was in, like when they were like, I don't know, 20 years ago or whatever, when it was really hard to find any of these albums. They were almost impossible because you were at the mercy of what people had in their collections when you're buying used, right? And nobody here was into blues albums, or if they were, they're holding on to them, or they're passing it on to somebody that they know, right? Like you're not going to find them at thrift shops. It's very, very rare. You can find Thriller and what's his name? Who's the Purple Rain? You can find that guy, Prince. Yeah, Prince. But it was very hard. So I had to resort to getting stuff on CD. Now it's crazy. You can go into a store and you can find reissues of every blues album, but they're goddamn expensive, like incredibly. Like those Paul Butterfield albums are $40 a piece here.
Are you serious?
Plus tax, yes.
Even the one I showed.
Yeah, it would be easily like it would be like 38 something, and then there'd be tax on top of it. So I'd have to wait for a sale or something. Anyways, the follow up to that album was I'm Ready. It's the same band. You got your Johnny Winter and James Cotton on there. Another great album. And then King B this was the last studio album that Muddy Waters did. And that's the trilogy you want to get. If you want to get into Muddy Waters, get those three. They're basically re-recordings with this new band of his older work. There's some originals on here too that are quite good, but they're the better recordings. It's almost like, you think of your thrash bands from the 80s coming back and re-recording some of the older tunes, and they just sound heavier and chunkier and all that stuff. That's pretty much what these albums are, is like those old
What's
tunes.
What's that one right there you're holding up?
King B? Is this one? I think.
Okay.
King B. Yeah. I'm a King B.
Yeah. That's a great track.
Yeah. Rolling Stones, I believe, covered it. They actually covered a bunch of, they got their name from Muddy Waters, right? So, yeah. So there you go. That's that for now.
He's probably one of my favorite Delta blues guys.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, him and BB King really, brought the electric, to. I mean, T-Bone Walker was the first to actually play the blues with the electric guitar, but BB King and T-Bone Walker were more that big band sound almost, But Muddy Waters was that Delta blues, and just brought it made it electric, and that's why he's one of the more popular blues guys.
Yeah.
Is he really on that much of a delay?
I don't know.
Do you have any?
Oh my goodness.
My feed is complete crap.
No kidding.
Okay, come on, internet. Come on, get back in there. Come on, internet. Do you have anything you want to say about Little Richard in this vein of talk?
Yeah, that really that sucks.
2020 continues to suck.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he was an original. I know there's I think there's about 4 or 5 guys who claim to create rock and roll. For me, it's Chuck Berry, because Chuck Berry, I know he took, like, for the sound, Little Richard had the sound, that the blues, the fast blues kind of thing.
Mhm.
Chuck Berry kind of just took that sound, converted it to a guitar. But for me, Chuck Berry had the lyrics, what the songs were about. They were always like personal songs or whatever I think that really resonated with people. So for me, it was always like Chuck Berry was like really the thing of rock and roll. But you can't take away that sound that Little Richard had. That really, he was part. They were all part of the start of rock and roll, and he was definitely one of them.
Yeah. What about Little Richard too is like his vocals too. That guy was like screaming into a microphone. That was like way ahead of its time too. Like that's almost like extreme vocals.
Yeah. And his performance too, like jumping up, like he wasn't like as crazy as Jerry Lee Lewis, but like, he made a show out of it, which when you're anchored to a piano is not easy to do, but he somehow did it.
Well, he's the chief influence of like the main guys, the top 3. You got the Bob Dylan, you got the Rolling Stones, you got the Beatles. Little Richard is the guy that they all openly say they copied off of. Mm-hmm. So that leads to everything in my collection being directly influenced by Little Richard. So how's the internet going? Are we caught back up yet?
I think so.
Are we back in the 2000s, or are we still in 1995 internet here?
You get some chunky pixels, but I think you're live.
Golly, I tell you, I'm sure it's kids upstairs
playing the Fortnites.
Really? I even pixelate?
Yeah, you're very pixelated.
Okay, well, it's my turn. Should I go, or am I the worst feed here?
You're absolutely the worst feed.
Everyone else is frozen.
Oh my goodness. Anyone watch The View today? This is what it was like. It was a torture show today.
Okay, Jake, you take on the next one. I'll swing back around.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to yell at the kids for a little bit. Jake.
I got you. So I'll bring up this one. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Michael Kiwanuka. Does that ring a bell for anyone? So this is I think it's his first full length. I think he had an EP before this. He sort of got his chops as a session musician in England. I think he's 34, 35 when this came out. But this is it's a double LP. Gorgeous gatefold there, but it's a mix between folk and soul. So he's got some Sam Cooke vibes along with some, I'm not going to say Dylan because that's too grand of a comparison, but I mean in that same sort of space. And there's a couple of songs on here that I just absolutely adore. The first one is Cold Little Heart. And then the other one is the title track, Love and Hate. And it's just, I think he's one of my favorite new artists of this millennia. He's just, he's got magic, just absolute magic. And this album just really is him on full display. He did a follow-up last year, and I think he just called it Kiwanuka. It's just based on his last name. But boy, like, I mean, I don't think there's anybody in this podcast that wouldn't enjoy Michael Kiwanuka. It's very melodic, soulful, a bit bluesy, a bit folky. Like I said, it's just absolutely wonderful music.
Where is he from, Jake?
I don't know specifically which city, but he is from England.
Okay.
His roots go back, obviously, to I think they go back to Uganda, and that's why he's sort of is branding himself like his last record is just Kiwanuka, his name. I could be wrong on the province, but yeah, like there's nothing that really quite sounds like him, and the production on the album is just really warm. It's just he almost sounds better live than he does on record, which is one of the cooler things that you can say about anybody, I think. So yeah, I think everyone should check him out who hasn't. It's absolutely wonderful. And I know I'll just drop this in. We've obviously this band's already been covered a little bit, but I just got this in the mail, and I bought it from a guy that I kind of know from Washington. He was posting in a Facebook group, and he was like, "Hey, I'm offloading some vinyl. Do you guys want any of this before I put it on Discogs?" And I grabbed a few things, and when I opened up the gatefold, there was a little present in there.
Oh, weird. Is that part of the pressing?
It is not. I asked him specifically. I was like, "Hey, so was that bonus in the gatefold from you or from the label?" And he was like, "Oh shit, did I have a pot leaf in there?" I was like, "Yeah, you did." And then I got the dope smoker from there, and there was also a pot leaf in that one as well. So
was that a piece of paper? What is that?
What's up?
What was it? What was it? I saw the pot leaf, but was it like a?
No, it's he actually tried to grow, but he didn't get any buds. But he just saved the leaves.
Oh, it's an alka. I thought it was like a.
No,
like a piece of paper.
It's an actual.
Oh.
an actual plant.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Can you send that in the mail? Is that legal?
Oh no, definitely not.
It would have been in serious trouble if like a dog sniffed that out or something, right?
I mean, I think it was a couple years old, so I don't know if it had enough enough to to trigger a dog. Who knows? I don't know how long that smell lasts, but that was the reason I brought that one to the show tonight, because I got a bit of a cackle out of that this afternoon.
That's a good one.
Funny.
Yeah, good times.
And fits in well with the band.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
I'm back. How am I doing?
Looking good.
You look great. You look great.
My spies upstairs have told me that the little kid was sneaking some internet.
Oh,
So,
Bandwidth deeper.
bandwidth. We got the tiniest pipes up here in Canada. Tiny pipes.
And they
Okay.
contract with all that cold you get.
Yeah. Big hello to Steve Catmax Gaming has popped in. Steven Eider. Good to see him.
Yeah.
Surprised he's not at Walmart. He's here. Okay, I'm continuing on the F's.
nice.
Go.
Get that Fleetwood Mac out of our throat. I think everyone has this album, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have it, but I know it.
You got to have it. Got to get it.
Love that old record on there, or radio.
Yeah.
Let's see. This is in good shape. Good shape. Yeah, I'm liking the artwork. All the little dudes on the shelf.
Yeah,
there.
that's. I feel like you can smell that picture. Like you know what that place smells like.
I think. Did we all have wallpaper like that as a kid?
I've definitely slept in rooms with wallpaper like that.
Oh yeah, beautiful shape. Gotta say, as all my vinyl is.
Mm.
Christine.
Okay, so yeah, Fogarty. That's good to have. Okay. Are we in the D's? We're in the D's now. So this is a top-notch movie for me. This rates way high because I love everything this director does. Sir David Lean, Dr. Zhivago. Oh, Zhivago. Of course, has an iconic soundtrack. I'm sure I got this for next to nothing. The reason why I picked it up. This is the original soundtrack album. It's not like that Lawrence of Arabia thing we showed off early. And you got some images from the film. Do you guys have you guys seen Dr. Zhivago?
It's been ages, but yeah.
I have not.
I mean, don't get chased away because you think it's a big love story. It is an epic, just like any of the other epics.
It's all right.
It's excellent. Some of the transition David Lean uses is jaw-dropping. His shot composition is just outstanding.
Bridge on the River Kwai is much better.
I don't think it's better. I don't think it's better.
Goodness.
No, I don't think it's
crazy?
better.
Are
I
you
don't think
crazy?
it's better.
The Dr.
Look at-
Zhivago.
Maybe you haven't seen it because you're
have.
too scared of the romance factor.
I watched it. It's okay.
But it is epic. It's
It
the only
is
way to
epic 'cause
describe
it's
it.
long.
It's epic.
That means long, but it's not great. It's an okay movie. I watched it once. Never need to see it again. Bridge on the River Kwai. Mwah. David Lean at his finest.
That's not his finest. He like phoned that one in because it was just an action
You got
movie.
Alec Guinness in there. William Holden. Great. Good times. Explosions.
There's a transition Lean does in this film, much like in Lawrence of Arabia, that you can't believe what you're seeing. Right.
Only 2.5 hours to get one transition.
He's
Can't wait.
the candle that's melting the glass window, and
Yeah,
then
I
you
remember that,
transition.
yeah.
Oh my god!
It's all right.
God
It's
damn
good.
it.
It's a good movie. It's okay.
Into the D's.
There you go.
Oh, nice. That's a good record.
Yeah, geez, this record, man. That was a top hit for how many weeks? This record. Money for Nothing, Walk of Life, Your Latest Trick.
That's when they started screwing over the vinyl crowd because the CD had the full version of Money for Nothing on it.
Ah, really?
Mm-hmm.
I gotta.
I believe it's. I don't know if it says it on the vinyl, but on the CD it was a DDD. It was a triple D, digital recording, digitally pressed, or something like that. There's some 3Ds in there or something. That was one of the first.
Oh, right. I remember when you're buying CDs back in the day, and you kind of looked at that code to see what the lineage was.
Like if it was recorded analog and then pressed analog, but the final product was digital, it was AAD.
I like the label has his dobro in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was the difference in the track on the CD, Kevin? What was the?
It was
what was the
like
edit?
it was an 8-minute long song, and then the one on the vinyl was 4-ish minutes. There was like a big long
Radio
build up.
edit or something?
Yeah, like the CD has there's a big long build up with Sting saying I want my MTV, and then the song itself had like Knopfler goes on a whole other solo that they cut out in the vinyl.
I was lucky enough to see Knopfler. He and Bob Dylan shared a bill one time in Toronto.
Fantastic.
That would have been awesome. That's a great record. Fantastic.
I'm missing one of my Dire Straits records. And if you can believe it, my 16-year-old kid has stolen it from me, and she
Nice.
listens to it. It's like the only piece of decent music she listens to.
Which one is
And
it?
it's the this one has Sultans of Swing on it.
Yeah. That's her first album.
Oh, is it the Show Me to the Waterline? What's that first track? That one's a great. Yeah, it's a
What?
great.
Yeah. Down to the Waterline.
What, yeah.
That album's brilliant.
Great
It's-
Yeah, I think that's what she has. Because I was kind of shocked at how old that album was when I first got it. This is from 78.
Mhm.
Reproduction of this. Oh yeah, it's got the copyright warning there. Don't reproduce this. Yeah, Sultans of Swing, man. There's I listened to on YouTube, there was some like a pair, two dudes busking somewhere in Paris or something like that. And they were just doing Sultans of Swing over and over and over again for about 35 minutes, just taking turns with it. And it was fantastic. And on YouTube too, there's a decent concert of Dire Straits, an older concert. And I was shocked at how good their drummer is. Their drummer is really got chops that maybe doesn't reveal itself too much in the recordings, but on the live, it was very apparent how good the drummer was. Yeah, concur? Sure.
Yeah, no, one of my favorite things to do is to look up Dire Straits live. Seriously, no, I do. I it's one of my go-to bands on YouTube. I look up their live recordings and that. Good times.
So we're going through the D's. I'll hold off because my next D is what is our time at? Yeah, it's going to be a lot from this next artist in the D's.
Big D, huh?
Big D's. It's not the artist you think it is, though.
Oh, it's not DY?
It is not DY. You know, like I said, the records I play often are not put away. So for those of you wondering, you know, we went through the G's, no Grateful Dead. What happened?
Thought I dodged a bullet there. Whoop.
We didn't see any Donny Osmond at O.
No Donny Osmond. So we're gonna pick all that stuff up later on when we pick up what's left. I do want to say though, I bought one of these today.
Oh, nice.
Holy mackerel, it works. The hype is real on this.
Yeah,
thing.
the hype is real for that stuff.
What is it?
A Yeti drink container.
Don't they make microphones?
That's Blue Yeti.
Yeah, it's two Yetis right now.
Yeah, I'm so confused.
Man, it works.
Yeti's a cult.
It keeps it super hot.
It's a lifestyle brand now.
You know, I have a big thermos from like the 70s that sucker keeps my coffee hot till noon.
This one will keep it hot until a week from noon.
Okay.
For the price it costs, they're expensive, but I was ready to splurge. It was on sale actually, and so I know it's not vinyl, but I thought I'd mention that. I burnt my face off when I took my first sip because it was so piping hot. Anyways, where are we at, guys? Who's next?
I think it's Bandy's turn.
Big Bandy?
So
sure, I'll try not to go 20 minutes here. Kind of excited. So, all right, I'm going to talk about two records that I picked up last year. One of them came out last year, and one of them, I'm not sure actually when it came out. Maybe Jake can help me.
2010.
Okay. Do you know what I'm going to talk about?
I think I saw the top of the record, so I'm just guessing.
What's it start with?
C.
Nope.
D, I bet.
Huh? A G, actually.
Okay.
And I'm hoping you're not going to show this record because I know you have. Right?
I didn't bring anything black metal this time.
Okay. Yeah. So this is a band that unfortunately at this point only has one record, and I hope he does more. It is a one-man melodic black metal band called Galabrade. And I happen to be wearing the shirt today as well. I planned that. So this band features Jake. I'm not sure what his last name is.
Rogers. Jake Rogers.
From Visigoth and another great band called Calvin Brood. I think I've said it before, as far as current metal vocalist, he is my absolute favorite. You wouldn't know that it was him on doing the vocals for this. This is a very accessible album for as far as black metal goes. The vocals for black metal, it's still aggressive, harsh vocals, but as far as the black metal genre goes, it's very easy to digest. There's essentially this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tracks on it, but 2 of them are instrumentals, and 1 is a bonus track that I'm not sure when it was recorded. It has I don't know if a guest vocals or a guest guitar on it, but lyrical themes on this deal with nature and sorrow. But what I like about this record too is a lot of black metal tends to be very kind of depressive almost and melancholy, which this has melancholy too, but it has almost some kind of uplifting tones and feel for it as well, and that's probably where some of the folk influence comes in. But I got this record last year, and it comes with a gorgeous gatefold, huge. This is an actual picture where the cover is hand painted, and it also has a large poster of the as well of the front cover.
Yeah, that's one of my all-time favorite black metal releases. Just the stomp and the Ashen Eidolon, that title track.
Yeah,
that groove is just so tasty.
And it's on if you could pick this up, it's like a kind of a smoky clear vinyl with a little bit of a splatter, they call that.
Very Dexter-ish.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, this is if you're new to the black metal genre, this is a great entry level. It's would you agree with that, Jake?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a lot of I think with any black metal, the vocals are going to be the hurdle, but I think the instrumentation of that, there's a lot of handholds there that can get you kind of settled in. It's the production quality isn't like as lo-fi as something as you were showing earlier.
Yeah,
there's a lushness to the whole thing. But yeah, I think it's a good
entry level.
Yeah, that's the shallower end of the black metal pool.
Yeah,
for sure.
And this next album I'm going to show and talk about is not very accessible. You kind of have to already be established and really like the genre. This was one of my favorite records. It was my favorite black metal release from last year. One of my favorite overall records that came out last year was a record called The Antichrist Rise to Power by Departure Chandelier.
That's the one that I saw first. I saw the stuff of it.
Yeah. So this is very low fidelity. It's 3 guys are in this band, which all play in other bands that are the only one I was familiar with is Akitsa, which is a French black metal band. But this has members from Quebec, New York, and France, I believe. This all deals with like French, some French history. Obviously Napoleon Bonaparte. But this is it's weird to say, but the riffs in this record are very catchy, and that's something that you don't see in black metal. And that, I think, was what really drew me to this record, because it was so strange. And this record did get quite a bit of praise and last year, but it also comes with a ridiculous poster.
Oh yeah, that poster is. I have that same impression. That poster is ridiculous.
Yeah, so
absolutely ridiculous.
Pretty silly.
And if I recall, that album was actually recorded in 2010 as well.
That's what it says. Yeah. It was recorded in 2010.
I don't know if they just sat on it for 9 years or.
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't know.
They do have a couple other demos and maybe one other EP out that I've listened to their other EP that actually came out the same year, but I didn't enjoy it as much as this. And
That one
maybe
had a lot of, dungeon synthy bits as well, which
Yeah.
I really liked.
and maybe it was because it was recorded so long ago that their influences and styles have changed. But there's a nice little message on the back here that I'd like to read. It says, "Beware. By purchasing, obtaining, trading, or even listening to this morbid declaration, you are supporting the spirit of self-coronation, misanthropy, hatred, blood feuds, corruption, armed resistance, cruelty, nepotism, injustice, regionalism, sadism, and superstition. Hail the spirit."
Alrighty.
Hail
it.
thee.
So there you go. This is definitely not for everybody, but yeah, this is a great record. Such a weird. Black metal has come so far and has incorporated so many different things. And what used to be black metal it's just fun to see the different influences and the different takes on the style.
Yeah, that record felt like a cold walk through a candlelit castle.
Yeah. Oh God, so good.
Yeah.
It's catchy, and which is such a weird thing.
I agree.
Yeah.
What are you saying the vocals are like on this kind of thing?
So imagine the worst microphone coming through the worst PA. There you go.
There you go. Okay.
I know Kevin's into it. I can tell.
Sign me up.
All right. There you go.
There
Okay,
you go.
Kevin. What do you got?
Okay.
Do you got any records or what?
I showed records. I've shown two, and here's a third. How about some Greg Allman, Laid Back? First
Wow.
solo album.
Wow.
I've never heard any of his solo stuff.
So this is a reissue.
Is that Prince Adam on the cover?
Yes, it is.
Does it got Cher in it?
I don't think Prince Adam had one of those. It doesn't have Cher, but it's got some broad on a horse
Oh,
with
Okay.
Greg Allman.
Something has got their attention over there.
Yeah, it's
It
over
was
there.
Cher. Cher was over there.
he's throwing the metal
Right
horn. So
But really good band. He's got the good lineup in here. Butch Trucks on the drums. You got Chuck Lavelle on the electric piano. Bill Stewart, and it's a good time.
What year was that?
70 something.
Okay.
There's no his brother's not on it, Dwayne Allman. So I don't know if he had passed away or not.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was curious about as to where that fell.
But it doesn't give me a date, and I never bothered to look it up. I had just I was on this website called Music Vault that I had talked about before. They do their own pressings, but they also get external vinyl from external sources, and they had this one for $16. So I went to YouTube to give it a spin, and I was like, "Yeah, that is pretty darn good. I will get that." And when it arrived, I took it out of the sleeve. And for Matt Bandy, there's
gorgeous.
the drapes matching. No, the carpet matching the drapes. Whatever it is, carpet matches the drapes.
Yeah.
That's good. So, yeah, I was surprised.
Fancy.
'Cause I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and it's the 180 grams too in that. So.
Nothing feels better.
Yeah. So that was good times. So and that's still in the blues genre. It's like Allman Brothers. It's I don't know why guys like that do solo albums, because really there was nothing in there that he couldn't have done if he was with the group.
Yeah.
If he was with the Allman Brothers. But
Yeah.
whatever.
And Butch Trucks was he the drummer?
Yeah, for the Allman Brothers band.
Oh yeah, right.
Okay, so getting to 20 years ago when I was looking for blues albums and that. I had a couple of white whales that I was trying to track down, trying to find. And I did find this one finally at a show. Now you can find it all over the place because there's reissues of it. But at the time, trying to find the Blues Breakers, John Mayall's Blues Breakers with Eric Clapton, the Beano album.
Beano,
as it's known, because Eric Clapton's fixated on the Beano. It took me forever to find this. And when I did find this, I stopped collecting vinyl for about 20 years. I said, that's it. I can retire now because I finally got this album. I think it's just an 80s reissue. I'm not an expert on... It says 1970, copyright 1970, and originally this came out before Cream, so 66.
Mm-hmm.
It was after Yardbirds, before Cream. It's got a
where
nice,
did you get that from?
I got it at a record show back
Yeah,
then.
I think I was there.
Yeah, you probably were.
I was like, you prick bastard. When
You wouldn't have
showed it to
bought
me.
this.
Oh, balls.
It was more than $5, so there's no way you were going to buy it. And it was in
yeah, that's
pristine
true.
condition. There were no scratches on it. It didn't look like someone's cat
Did no carrot.
had danced on it. So there was no way you were going to buy it. You could settle down over there. But I was good. That was good. And then so another one I was looking for back in the day. This guy, he only did 3 albums in the 70s. Very short career. He had been around for a long, long time. Finally got a recording contract. Got a little bit of popularity in that, and then he died. Went and died after a couple albums. But this is Hound Dog Taylor and the House Rockers. This guy is infamous for having he was a slide player. Only played slide, but he had a 6th digit on his
Wild.
but he didn't put the slide on there. He still put the slide on the ring finger. So it was just a little thing. It was just kind of like a gimmick thing. But this guy used, as you notice, like if you could see his guitar there, it was like the cheapest Sears plastic guitar. It was just one of those light Sears garbage guitars, but he could make that thing just sing beautifully. And it's kind of, Jack White kind of revitalized that thing, years later as Alligator Records pressing. But again, this was one that, I was not going to find it anywhere here because nobody was going to have this record in their collection and give it up or anything like that. So I actually had to buy this on eBay. This was one of my first eBay purchases.
What year is that from, Kevin?
1970, I think. It's early 70s. Then he only did there was like a kind of half live album that he did, and then there was like a kind of B tracks album that came out, and that was it. That was all you got from him. He also had, it was a 3-piece band. It was him, a guitar player, and a rhythm guitar player. They had no bass guitar player, but the rhythm guy would just play bass lines. If that makes any sense. But yeah, it's really good. And then sometime in the early 2000s, they did a Hound Dog Taylor tribute album. This is a fantastic album. It gives you a better idea what the 6th digit was like. It was just a little thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just a little nub. So like they kind of played it up a little bit, but this thing's
nub.
fantastic. If you want a good song, Going to Send You Down to Georgia by Government Mule.
Oh, no, that's a good
My
band.
goodness, it's good. Warren Haynes. This is what got me on the whole Government Mule thing and all that. That's where I just kind of discovered them.
Well, that band had members of Allman Brothers in it.
Yeah, sort of. They would tour with the Allman Brothers all the time. So Derek Trucks, Butch Trucks' son.
Oh, yeah, I know the Derek Trucks band. Was Derek Trucks in Government Mule?
I don't think he was ever really in Government Mule. He was just one of those guys that would play all the time. Warren Haynes was really the guy. They were a 3-piece band as well. It was just him and the bass and drums.
Warren Haynes filled in the Allman Brothers once they
Warren
kicked
Haynes.
Dickie out.
Right. Yeah. Well, Dickie was some trouble. I guess he was a little bit of a troublemaker. A little bit
He's
of trouble.
Dickie.
He was a little bit of a troublemaker.
He was dickish.
Greg was the guy who ran the show, so you can't piss him off. That's all I'm saying. But Yeah, I think that's it for now. I got some.
That's
more
what you
stuff
got for you. Okay.
for now. And if I don't know how long we're going, but I got more stuff if you need it.
Steven Eider says someone left a box of records by a bus stop yesterday, and some kids were playing with them like frisbees.
I don't believe him.
Yeah, I don't either.
Sounds like a phony baloney story to me.
That again.
Okay. I think Jake, you're up, my friend.
Okay. So we're talking about. I just brought this one. I don't know if you guys. I've talked about them a little bit, but Chemists.
Oh yeah, nice.
I absolutely just love the artwork on their records. Now this is a Denver-based doom band, but they're not the kind of doom that sort of drags out their songs to an annoying degree. I think their longest song is around 11, 12 minutes, something like that. It's not, 20, 30 minutes. But they have very bright vocals, lots of melody, some really cool lead parts. This is their second record called Hunted. And the thing that I always love about them is they do the vinyl pressings that, again, carpet matching the drapes.
Very nice.
Tasty.
And they always include lyric books with their albums. And then there's always really cool artwork in there to keep you entertained while you're catching the lyrics. So, this is a band that I've loved since they started, and they just kind of keep getting better. They released like a mini live album, I think, a couple of weeks ago. They got a nice Dio cover on there. I think I brought them up last time I was here for covering.
It was at the folk album. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that record, that was my introduction to that band. That's a good record.
Yeah, it's so good. Way too short. I could use another hour of that. The other thing I'm bringing is I actually just got this one today as well. This is The Ocean. I don't know if anyone's familiar with them. I kind of don't expect anyone to be. They're kind of a collective now, more so than a band. There's a lot of rotating members. They're based out of Germany. They do what is considered post-metal. And basically what that means, if you don't know, is they just sort of focus more on atmosphere than they do writing riffs or playing lead parts. It's more about the actual feeling of the music rather than the technical prowess. Metal sometimes gets its head up its own butt when it comes to how fast you can play or how many notes you can hit or how many arpeggios you can do and how much sweep picking can be done in a song. This kind of scales all that back and just focuses on, just how things feel, the emotional context of it. And The Ocean always does stuff with just really scientific song names. So if you look like this, these are their song names, which are basically, I think, sort of micro evolutionary periods on the history of the Earth. And they write songs around those themes. It's very pretentious, and I love it.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say that.
But this is interesting in that it's just 2 10-inches, and I've never had a double 10-inch.
That's not what I heard.
But I love this band. I think their vocalist's name is Loic. I can't pronounce his last name or won't attempt to in public. But it's just one of the finest, most powerful voices that you'll hear in heavier music. They actually put out a record 2 years ago called Phanerozoic 1, and they're going to do a follow-up to it soon. But there was actually a collector's edition where you could get a fossilized nautilus in a wooden box with the record. So they're very committed to the ocean aesthetic. But it's one of those bands that I just kind of go to that when you want something that's sort of overwhelming but not aggressive, because that's kind of how I would classify them. It's big walls of sound, but
similar to like a Sigaros type.
Much heavier.
Okay.
So I don't. Do you know who Amun Ra are?
Yeah, I know the name. I don't listen to a lot of post metal, post rock, but
sure. Neurosis is another touch point. Yeah. So yeah, along that line, but with a little bit more melody and actually a little bit more catharsis. It's not quite as navel gazing and introspection that you'll get with neurosis or something like that.
And I'm glad you showed a 10-inch record because that is my least favorite form. I hate 10-inch records. I own a few of them, but they just don't fit in with any. I don't know how to display them, and it's always been a point of contention with me.
I have 3 10-inch records. I have the Mastodon that I brought earlier, those, and then I have a Exhumed and Gate Creeper split that's 10-inch.
Yeah, I just never understood why the purpose of a 10-inch. I get the purpose of a 45 or a 7-inch, but I just don't understand the format for a 10. Why just make it an LP?
Yeah, strange.
Don't get it.
Bill, you're muted again.
Bill is very muted.
Yep.
Sure, what
It's
he's saying
because
is funny.
I can't get the double 10-inch statement out of my head. I'm like, that's going on a T-shirt somehow. I gotta. The designs are flowing.
No such thing as bad press. That's what I'm hoping for.
But yeah, if they do a 10-inch, like the whole production situation has to change to get it. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Did you see the titles of those songs? I think
Yeah, they don't
care about practicality whatsoever.
No, it's all about aesthetic. But like, I'm not expecting anyone to jump out and go listen to them, but I think they're much different than what you would expect. They're pretty cool.
That's weird. And it's a double 10-inch too. That's
I know.
so weird. So weird.
So, like I said, it's the only one I've seen. I was not expecting that, so I'll take it.
Okay. Is that it for you this round, Jake?
Yeah, sure. I got a couple more, and if we don't get to them, we don't get to them. No big deal.
We're in the warning track now, that's for sure. Coming up to 2 hours. I had a couple albums that were misfiled because we're back to the G's. So let me G that out for a second here. And I don't know really anything about them. And maybe you guys can help me out. David Gilmour from 78. Yeah, I don't know.
Know nothing about that album.
Yeah,
I didn't know he
neither.
did a solo.
Yeah, that long ago too. So let's just take a little peek, see what's in here. Nice photos there.
Collage.
Yeah, I'm looking who the personnel is. Rick Wills, Willie Wilson. I don't know. Hasn't been played very much, that's for sure. Oh, it's like brand new in this thing. Like Columbia Records. So I guess I'll have to give that one a try. What does Deke Williamson say about that one? Help me out. Another one I don't know about. Got this Peter Gabriel from 77 as well.
What tracks are on that one?
Moribund, The Burgermeister, Salisbury Hill, Modern Love, excuse me, Slow Burn, waiting for the big one. The Personnel, yeah. Someone's Fripp's on here, David Fripp.
I got the Fripp.
Robert Fripp, sorry, Robert Fripp. He's pretty famous guitar guy.
That name rings a bell, yeah.
I remember a photo I saw him. He was just posing with his guitar, and he had the smuggest of smug looks on his face, like, and he's holding the guitar, and he's doing this crazy, like 14 fret stretch at the same time he's doing this smug. I'm Robert Fripp, fuckers. Ooh, yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, scary.
It's a mask.
I think my stuff's scary. Jeez.
Then not scary. Then scary.
That's a Bandy sleeve right there.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Peter Gabriel on Co Records.
Got some lint. Looks good there.
Yeah. Linty. Yeah, so I don't know. I haven't played these. I have no idea what's doing. What was Peter Gabriel doing in 77?
Well, it was like early 80s when he was big, right? With the Sledgehammer and all that
Well, he was
stuff.
Genesis was fairly
Right.
big, and then he left. And
Yeah, so is this progressive or is this
It's probably
throwaway rock? What is it?
well, you know Salisbury Hill. You know that song. They play it on the radio all the time.
Moribund the Burgermeister.
I don't know that one.
Should I continue or cut things off at this moment? Because we can burn through quick this next artist, but there's a lot of it.
I think
a
you
big
should
D.
do your thing, and then we'll wrap it up. Do your thing.
Do
Do
my
your
thing?
Yeah.
My thing. Okay. Thanks, guys, for allowing me. I know you really want to see what my Neil Diamond collection is.
Oh, nice. Neil.
Okay, I gotta go.
Play some Neil.
I'm
Been fun.
Now, as we talked about before, this is on K-Tel, that record label we talked about earlier, the Canadian record label. And I like here how it's in stereo and some mono. Yeah,
Also mono.
that's
A mix.
there's stuff on here. That's K-Tel, man. They just got
They did not
tracks
care.
and they threw them on.
They just hedge immediately.
Like, look how many tracks they throw on there.
Yeah, cram them right in. That's some
That's-
quality.
That's a K-Tel.
High quality.
That's K-Tel for you.
Don't sneeze next to that record. It'll skip.
It is. It's actually kind of thick, but I do recommend that K-Tel documentary. If you guys are bored, throw that on. Some of these I think we can get rid of, guys. Because how many Neil Diamond greatest hits do we need here?
At least 2 volumes.
He's looking pretty cash on the couch there.
Looking like a snack.
What is on volume 2? What did not make it
Oh,
onto
Forever
volume
in
1?
Blue Jeans. Yes.
Yeah, there's some still really big hits here, guys. You Don't Bring Me Flowers.
Yeah.
Love on the Rocks. Love on the Rocks. I might do some Neil covers on YouTube soon.
I freaking love that Forever in Blue Jeans song.
I love the Will Ferrell version.
Oh, I've never heard it.
Yeah, Neil Diamond's greatest hits. Not much. Anyways, if that ain't enough, you got double gold, baby.
Ooh, yeah.
This is like what Kevin was talking about earlier. These artists where you can find so many of their records super cheap, and Neil Diamond is definitely one of those artists. You know, Kenny Rogers, and there's just tons. They pumped out so many albums of
Saturation.
his.
Yeah.
Some big hits on there too. I don't know. It's not showing up well.
No,
That
that's not,
Solitary Man.
Yeah.
Nice.
Look at that. It's got a nice little weirdo sleeve here. Nice picture.
they went
hanging
portrait
out.
mode.
Hanging out with the neighborhood. Oh, this is off Bang Records, by the way. So that's good. Bang Records is good to find. Got sleeves on there. Look at that cool record label. Bang Records.
Yeah.
What? I love Bang Records. Man.
Yeah, I'm sure you
I
do.
love it.
You love the 10-inch bang.
Okay, so there's 2 records in there. And we got September Morn. Look at that guy. Look at
Man,
chest hair bubbling out.
is that a terry cloth shirt? I can't tell.
I'm a believer's on here. Like that, you can't argue that this guy was a hit maker.
I mean, it's brilliant that he spread all those songs around on different albums to make everyone buy so many different albums.
There he is. Smoky glasses.
It looks like Jim Jones in that picture.
Yeah, I was gonna say, looks like Ronnie Millsap mixed with Jim Jones.
So by this time, he had graduated to Columbia Records. His finals in rougher shape, but I don't know if you guys can believe this, Kevin, but Deke was stumped on that that record.
Oh my goodness. Well,
He's got
it must not
nothing to say
exist
about
then.
You have the only copy.
You got to have this one, guys. Hot August night. Look at him. That's right. I don't know what's going on here with this.
It's a German.
Yeah, that is why that's the second of something.
Says down here, manufactured in Western Germany by Teldec. Telefunken
You got an import.
Yeah, that's weird, eh? Because this is not like it's not found here. Telefunken, by the way, is a great stereo to get.
Man,
That
that
looks
thing
pretty
was
good.
in Germany and it made it all the way over here. Somehow.
Just to end
It's
up
in.
with Bill.
That's right. Or true fan. Got a big uni on there. Oh, and we got a name. Shirley something. She did not want to lose her hot August night in Western Germany. She took care of it. They're beautiful. So yeah, this is a live album. Live at the Greek. Big Bandy, you like Neil, right?
I do. He is.
Right.
I do like Neil a lot, actually.
Oh, she signed both albums, so that's good. 1972. That is weird how this is from Germany.
When you go to a party and people are bringing in multiple copies of that, you don't want to get your discs mixed up with someone else.
So that was live at the. Sorry, go ahead.
What introduced me to Neil Diamond was two things. One was a band called the Murder City Devils, and they covered a Neil Diamond song. And another was that movie Saving Silverman, actually.
Mm-hmm.
That was like I was like, oh, it, and that's how I came to be a Neil fan.
The part of Saving Silverman that sucked.
No. Love on the Rocks ain't no big thing.
I used to play Neil Diamond at work sometimes, and I would see how long it would stay on before somebody turned it off.
Kevin knows this, but one of my favorite artists on The Last Waltz is the Neil Diamond performance. He fucking killed it on The Last Waltz. You got to admit that. Dry Your Eyes. He walked off the stage after that, walked up to Bob Dylan and goes, follow that, MFer. That's true.
Wow.
True story.
You're quite the storyteller, Bill.
So that was Live at the Greek. This is Love at the Greek. I wonder if this is the exact same album. No, Hot August Night we definitely had that here. Look at that.
Oof. The one piece.
It looked
No,
like
no,
it.
no,
It looked
no,
like
no.
it.
No, it's a tunic.
You're gonna blame it on packet loss, but yeah, okay.
Wow, look at the crowd there. Look at that.
I thought it was going to be Neil Young.
Like, where's Crazy Horse?
Man.
Got their Neils mixed up.
Oh, these slip covers have pictures here too. Gotta show you. Oh yeah. There he is.
That's a great picture. That's good photography.
Yeah.
I wonder
The
how long they hold
photography is
that
by Ed Cara F. If you want to look him up.
Do
Now,
you think that's a casual photo, or did he hold that pose?
Oh, he held that pose for a long time.
Yeah.
Now, we were talking about The Last Waltz, and a lot of people were curious how Neil Diamond got into The Last Waltz. So you produced that?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So Robbie kind of got Neil in there. But like I said, he killed it. So he was an awesome contributor to The Last Waltz. Some artwork on there. What's going on? More pictures.
Diamond is forever. Very
I feel
clever.
warmer just seeing those.
Yeah. Oh, sure. You can say Clapton is God. That's okay, but you can't say Diamond is forever.
Oh yeah, by the way, that Beano album. That's
Okay.
where Clapton
Yes.
is God.
Neil.
Came out. The Beano album right there. Yeah. The Clapton is God. That's where it came from. People started spray painting.
Neil Diamond Stones.
Yeah, he's
This is a
stoned.
big one too. I Am I Said leads off this album, which is big time. That's big time. This is a weird.
That's weird.
I don't hate it.
This is a Uni Records again, same as that German release. Oh, and then just easy access, right?
See, I like that.
Neil Diamond Stones. He's got the stones. So there's that. And we're getting there. We're getting there, guys.
I see that.
Yeah, we're getting there. You got Taproot Manuscript. Cracklin' Rose on there. Suleiman. What, you guys are just...
You ain't heavy.
Those are
How
big.
how much did you pay for these?
You know, I would have got them for next to nothing, but that's big tracks. Look at that artwork. What
Spare
is
no
going on with
expense.
that? What? That's real. I'm not making that's not ripped or anything. That's the interior.
They gave up.
Okay, we have some paperwork in here. It's the manuscript. You're wondering because you said, this is called manuscript. I wonder if there's a manuscript in here. And yeah,
Look
at
out.
that. Wow. Holy crap. It says these are all the singers on this album. It's a lot of singers. And you got your monogram ND right there.
Is that embossed? Looks like it should be embossed.
It's not embossed, but it's on that nice kind of parchment paper.
Mhm.
And that just has a slip cover and nothing fancy. On Uni Records again. And if you haven't had enough Neil yet, you get your gold. Look at that artwork. You talk about your black metal stuff. That's how you do artwork.
That is terrifying.
And he'll look at you like that. Yeah.
Where's your corpse paint at, Neil?
This is MCA Records. That's just a greatest hits kind of deal. Still with the Neil. Still with the Neil.
Pumping them out.
Okay. You know what? What the hell? I'm missing my most prized Neil album. Isn't here. Neil Diamond has an album. I believe it's called Shiloh too. That's got the
Connect
the
the
numbers.
dots.
Connect the dots. Yes. Where is it? Someone better not have stole that. But this is pretty good. This is old Neil off Bang Records. It's got the budget corner cut.
Mm.
It's got some big early hits there.
Oh, nice.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
The girl, you'll be one. Red One Wine. That's his version of Red One Wine's good.
And we got a nice slip cover. I wonder, you know what? We'll probably come across that other Neil album later on down the road. I probably pulled it to play with. Again, Bang Records. That's when you know these are the Bang Records ones are the only ones that are worth anything if you're collecting Neil. So,
Bill, did you say you pulled it to play with it?
yeah, a little.
A little.
Just a little bit.
Want to be clear.
Chris Roberts asked if anyone has a Techniques dust cover they want to part with.
I do not.
I don't have
I don't
any
even have
Techniques
one.
equipment.
Yeah.
No.
Sorry. Chris, if you have one that's roached, you can bring them back to life with a little polish. You get stuff like I have these products here for plastic restoration. You ever seen these things?
Mm-mm.
And you go by certain steps here. You got 1, 2, and 3, and that raises the level of abrasion up. And you can super polish up and restore plastic with this stuff.
The
It's called Novus.
Model kit guys use floor polish, and they swear by it. And it's cheap.
Floor
like,
polish.
Yeah, to do like clear plastic glass like that, like all the little windows in cars. They rub it up with polish and floor polish, and it looks good in the videos. Looks really shiny.
So that takes the scratches out?
Yeah, like it's like they'll show these things, and they're little windows for model kit cars, so maybe it's on a smaller scale or something like that. But yeah, it clears them right up.
All right. Well, I'm sorry, guys, to use up all the time at the end for the Neil, but we had to get through it. We had to power through.
You had to.
And we had to get that out. Just wait until, we're getting near the end, and there's going to be some big artists with a lot of albums there. So I might have big segments, big bandy segments, as they call it now.
You're going full bandy.
Oh man,
Big Bandy Bogarten.
Yeah.
Before I forget, Bill, you asked me last week about Jimi Hendrix and Little Wing, and if there's a longer version of the song out there. There isn't. He purposely wanted that song to be small, hence Little Wing. So when it fades out, that's where he wanted it to fade out. So that, according to Eddie Kramer, there's no other ending or anything like that tacked on. And when he played it live, he always just played it short. And, he came up with a little ending or whatever to play it live, but that's it. That's the whole song. Fun fact. So when Stevie Ray Vaughan or Derek and the Dominoes are playing it and they go on for 8 or 9 minutes, they're playing it wrong, according to Jimmy.
Wow. Yeah, because he chops it off, man, right when my eyes start rolling in the back of my head. Like, take me home. And it's done. I love it. So that's it. That's it for this episode of the Vinyl Collection. Thank you, my vinyl pundits, for popping in. We got Matt Bandy. We got Kevin, Buried on Mars. And featuring this week, Jake from Polykill Podcast. And Jake, you had a big announcement on the latest Polykill announcement. The latest Polykill episode. It was a short one. You talked about a new project you have happening. Didn't mention anything about this show, but that's,
well,
it's off brand.
It was before this happened.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice, really. Just
seems like you did, though. It seems like you did notice.
So, do you want to elaborate? Let us in. You got another music project?
It's basically it's at least for the first little while just going to be me. It's kind of like I said, I think last time, just sort of looking at music through an emotional lens and more of a feeling rather than by chopping it up by genre or style or era or anything like that. And just kind of an eclectic.
Sounds like you need Neil in that.
You never know. You never know who's going to show up in this. But I don't have much of it done yet, so I don't know when it's actually going to launch. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks. But it's going to be called Music That Makes Me. And then each episode will sort of be self-contained. So like an episode might be called Music That Makes Me Happy or Music That Makes Me Inquisitive. And then I'll just take a look at music or songs or artists that sort of put me in those mindsets. So everything will be sort of, I guess more like an anthology than, anything serialized. That's the idea anyway.
Yeah, I love that like theme time shit.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a lot less polarizing way to look at things, and
yeah,
it should be fun. We'll see.
If I could just take an aside for a second, talking about Polykill, your partner over there, Trav.
Yeah, I just popped in over here.
He now has 15 podcasts.
I think we're up to 15.
15 podcasts. He's got like 4 kids at home, 2 wives, and writing a PhD at the same time, right?
Well, he finished writing the PhD. That got finished today.
Oh wow.
So, well, he's got to
My
defend soon.
God.
So everyone send up good vibes.
Definitely. But he should pass along some of that speed to the rest of us to keep us going. Because
I've seen his speed in action, and trust me, you don't want it. You don't want that. Yeah. You guys don't get the text at 2 a.m. That's like, I can't sleep. I've got another podcast idea. He doesn't really do that. I just know he's here listening, so I have to bust his balls.
Good stuff. So, are you going to have, while this business is going on, is Polykill kind of in a holding pattern, or will you do it remotely?
No, I mean, we did 2 episodes remotely. It's just this past couple of weeks, he has been completely under the gun in terms of work, and then the PhD, and then, it just sort of hampered him from playing video games, and so we didn't really have anything to discuss. So we decided to do like a captain's log supplemental and just sort of a midway point, and we'll get back to it again hopefully in a couple of weeks.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Right on. I'm sorry, I just got to mention the chat. Chris Roberts says that red wine by UB40 is better than the Neil Diamond version. Okay. All right. And Kevin, Buried on Mars, another big famous hotshot out there on podcast land. Yeah. He's just pumped out another episode of Retro Fandango, now on YouTube, which is, you get to see a well-coiffed Rambox on there every week, which is interesting. And you have the Quick Save Club appearing on the Cartridge Club podcast stream, which is
Save Point. That's a new one, right? Or something new.
Well, Save Point is part of the Quick Save Club thing. It's just the episode we do where we don't talk about a game. We just talk about computer.
Yeah, Jake, if you listen to it as much as I do, you'd know that the Save Point is.
I literally just saw a tweet about it from Josh Leslie, I think, and I hadn't dived in, but I just wanted to make sure it came up.
Sorry, I'm not even sure what the heck we're doing. I just go with the flow. They wanted to do a game once every 2 months. I said, okay, sure, because they wanted more time. They didn't want it, but they still want to do a podcast because they want to talk to me every month. So that's what we did. But really, the important stuff is Retro Fandango and Buried on Mars channel.
Yeah,
on YouTube.
Highly plurific. What's the word I'm trying to say?
Prolific. Yeah,
I like my version.
I mean, I did too.
Yeah,
it was interesting.
Kevin pumped out 25 videos this week. Just saying.
Well, I just I'm kind of testing it out because I noticed that people who post a lot, their channels actually get a bump, in the algorithm. So I'm like, I wonder if I do that, if it'll happen, if I'll get a bump in and it's been working. I've been getting like comments on videos from ages ago. Awesome. I'm like, oh wow, people are still watching this thing. I don't know if it's a coincidence or if it's because I've been putting out the videos, but I've also when I pulled out all my Blu-rays and I noticed that they were all still wrapped up, I'm like, I really should open these and see what's in them. And I thought, you know what, that's really some easy content to do. Just shoot a table and talk while I open the stuff. And it's lazy content, but it works. So I'll be talking about my Blu-ray some more too. I'll be going through the whole collection at some point. And
that Criterion Collection stuff's pretty neat. I wasn't actually, I'd heard of that before, but I'd never seen them. And I actually went on their website today to look at some of them. It's crazy how many.
They do incredible stuff. There's another company called Arrow that picks up a lot of stuff. Another company called Kino Lorber. That's what it is, Kino Lorber. They don't do the big collections, but they get a lot of obscure movies to finally come onto Blu-ray, because there's been movies like, since it's not like DVD. DVD was very easy to get a license. Anybody can get a license to make a DVD, and so any movie company that had any rights to any movie would just pump out DVD. This one, you got to go to Sony. You got to say, Sony, this movie is totally worth putting out there, because you got to pay rights, because Sony owns the whole thing. It's really stupid. But Travis, you're supposed to watch my movie reviews. You're the one that told me to get back and doing them, so they're there. Watch them.
He was actually commenting that the best thing. So.
Oh, there you go. Okay, well, there.
Yeah. And I agree. I agree. I love your Burt Reynolds face. That was great.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm still in it. I haven't left it yet.
It's a way of life. It's not a phase.
That's right. And I'm getting more Jackie Chan now because the Burt Reynolds is kind of wrapping up. I got everything I need, so now I'm moving on to Jackie Chan. But and before we go, Jake, if you do me a favor, don't promote this on Polykill, because I don't think we could handle a wave of viewers. I like it small. I like it when it's just Chris watching us. The pressure's off. So I don't want
that's true. But we do not have waves. We have
I don't know. Podcast of the year. What is it, like 6 times in a row now? I can't
understand that. I genuinely don't.
Slow down.
Yeah. No, I'll try.
Okay.
What about Anchor Bay, Kevin? Are they still a big collection maker of discs?
Anchor Bay?
Yeah, like they pump out those Evil Dead giant box sets all the time, right?
I don't know. I know Scream Factory, which is an offshoot of Shout Factory. They got tons of. They're really the horror guys. I'm not sure if they do Evil Dead ones. I think there's a Criterion collection of Evil Dead 2. It's kind of getting mixed up in my head because I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos, and in the UK, it's like completely different. They have different ones. There's another one called Eureka, and then there's all sorts of different labels and that they're putting out stuff. So I don't know yet. I don't know who does the Evil Dead ones, but that's a name I haven't heard yet. Anchor Bay. Yeah,
you've definitely seen it in the DVD world. You've definitely
probably in DVD, but on Blu-rays, I don't know.
But yeah, I don't remember seeing them for the longest time. Anywho, our goodbyes are like half the show. Meanwhile, we got Big Bandy, the famous Matt Bandy. Thank you so much for showing up again and expounding us with your knowledge, your pastoral knowledge. It is great. Like I said, you appear all the time on the Cartridge Club feed, on the Cartridge Club podcast. You're on Twitter. You're on Instagram. Anything else we can mention?
Nope. That's about it.
Hey, aren't you going to be on Film Dango?
Oh, I
just want to plug that.
Spoiling the secret, Kevin.
No, that's not a secret. Plug it. Come on.
Yeah, I'm going to be on the next episode of Retro Fandango, where we talk about Conan the Barbarian movies and Red Sonja.
Nice.
Which I'm a huge fan of the sword and sorcery genre. I'm a big Robert E. Howard fan, and
I would have guessed that.
Yeah, I know, right? It was such a freaking cliche, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that, Kevin.
Yeah, me too.
That'll be great.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to that Red Sonja reboot they were going to do?
Was it Rose McGowan was the one they were talking to about that?
Yeah.
There's been an ongoing comic book series that I haven't read, but people seem to like it. But yeah.
Yeah, they even pumped. I remember the poster. They pumped out a poster where she's like got this sword like this, and it's spurting blood out of the top. It's very suggestive. And okay. So that's leaves it to me. This is the Start to Continue YouTube channel. Like I said, hit the subscribe button, and we're doing live streams like this all the time. It's fun to come on here and chat with you guys. Good to interact in the chat with you. Love it. So hit the subscribe button so you can see that. And the podcast also appears here and on wherever you get podcasts. It's on there too. So thanks again, everyone, for showing up. Much appreciate it. Hope you guys can come back again, and we'll continue down the road. Still got D's left. So, and I'll be curious what
we want the D. So
we want the full D.
Yeah. I'm curious what kind of. You did black metal, maybe beige metal next time.
Just white metal.
Sure. So that's it. Thanks, guys. That's the end. Goodbye.
Bye.